Good morning and welcome to Pagecast, a podcast from Jonathan Ball. My name is Wamuwi Mbao and I am a literary critic and reviewer at the Johannesburg Review of Books. Joining me today is Rémy Ngamije. Rémy, please introduce yourself to the crowd.
Hello everyone, my name is Rémy. I'm the author of The Eternal Audience of One and Only Stars Know the Meaning of Space. I am a writer, photographer, general dabbler of things literally from Windhoek in Namibia. Yeah.
So I think my first question to you, Rémy, is one of, I wanted to get your sense of how you feel about the tag of the title, writer's writer, because, and the reason I'm asking you that is that you are someone who, I talk to a lot of writers, a lot of, people in this sort of reading industry, and your name is constantly brought up as someone who other writers really like. Everyone's always like, oh, Rémy, and what do you think about a tag like that?
Oh, I think it's always good to be recognized as a writer, especially for someone who's always wanted to be a writer but never known how. And I guess the community that comes with being identified as a writer is always nice. I'm writing there with the people who write in their journals, who scribble in their diaries, people writing manuscripts. All of us are writers. And I think what you're saying is that a lot of authors like or know of me or about my work because it's a festival year and everyone needs an invite. So that's why Remy's name is coming up when it's like, how are we getting to this man? No, I'm joking. But it's more just about the community. I'm really, really invested in the literary community, how best to support writers and authors, how to keep books in circulation, how to get people talking about dialogue that matters to all of our literary communities, regardless of whether you're in Namibia or South Africa or Lesotho or wherever it is you might find yourself. I think those conversations are very crucial and important. And so I'm always looking for interesting ways to connect different communities here.
Yeah, you're a very, I would definitely say, you're a community-focused writer, and I think that definitely feeds into why you have such a positive vibe among the writing community.
I think it's important. I think the industry is one thing, and the industry will always change year to year, season to season, but that industry doesn't survive if there's no community.
Exactly.
And there's some people who will take part in the community but never get to be a part of the industry. These are both have their respective rewards, but the community is the most important one. And if you ignore the community, there is no industry. And so when we talk about young readers, that's the community, but there's an industry attached to it, but you have to start at the communal grassroots level to keep that healthy and going. And the fun is, the vibes are in the community. The industry is all the things that any industry is. Cutthroat, it's competitive, it's your name is more popular than mine, you're the headliner, I'm the Robin act type of thing.
But you've won this prize,
I haven't won that prize. The community though, it's like all a little more egalitarian as well, and everyone gets to participate according to their abilities and whatnot. And everyone has something to offer. Yeah.
Talking of something to offer, we're here at Franschhoek, and Franschhoek is always one of the sort of landmark literary events.
Yes.
Do you remember your first Franschhoek Lit Festival?
Yeah, I remember it because it started yesterday. This is my first.
This is your first one, really?
Festival.
See, that's a sign of how I think of you as one of those people who's always been on the scene.
No, this is my first time at Franschhoek, and it's first of all, the scale is something that's unfamiliar to me, like a whole town putting on a whole festival.
It's an event, it's a happening.
It's a landmark thing. And to get the whole community involved to the degree that it is, for me, is amazing. It gives me hope that we might be able to do something like this where I come from in Windhoek. And then also just the sheer volume of like storytelling power that's assembled here for like 4 days. That's ridiculous.
It packs a lot in.
Yeah, it's astounding. Not overwhelmed, but just like, wow, everything, like everyone on your bookshelf is like here. And you're like, no way, but yes way, and it's happening, and that's cool.
What is your festival approach for something like this? Do you try and attend as many things as possible, or you try and kind of just cherry pick things and go like, I'm going to see that person?
Something like this is there's always that author whose work you read when you are coming up, when you are aspiring to be a writer in university, and then there they are 5 meters away from you, and that's cool. You always go to those ones.
Yeah.
But then there's always gems that you know, with a conversation, you just have a feeling this, although it's not on, like, let's say the main stage or something, this will be wonderful and intimate and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I typically like attending sessions where I know I'll get to ask a question because there's not many people in the audience. So 500 people, you're not going to get a question.
Yeah.
But if there's 30 or 40 of you, there's a chance you might get a question. So I like those smaller,
That's a good hack.
smaller
You know,
events.
attend the slightly off the wall.
Yeah. I enjoy the side quests. Yeah.
I want to talk about your book. Only Stars Know the Meaning of Space.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I love the subtitle, a literary mixtape, because the format of it is quite intriguing. It's quite unconventional. Would you say a bit about it?
Well, I said it's a literary mixtape. It's presented with an A side and a B side, like the old school cassettes that we used to record back in the day, which is a very shorthand way of giving away age, Wamuwi. But the A side follows a particular storyline, and the B side has another one. And depending on how you read it, you can read A, B, B, A, B, A, front to back to front, whichever way. You can read just the A side or just the B side. And each one has something different to offer the reader. And that was the starting point of the collection of stories, to give people a different reading experience.
Yeah.
And then the strong desire to write something that I didn't know whether I would get the chance to do it again. So it's just a case of like, dude, you got to go for it and try and see if it works. I hope it has worked. At least it's made it to like book form.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that.
Book, and
And it was just a desire to do something that I felt I needed and wanted to do, and hope that it worked out. Yeah.
Okay. No, that sounds really good. What's your sort of writing technique, if I can ask you that? Are you one of those writers who has like a regime, you know, like you get up at 4 a.m. every morning? And
No, I'm not a 4 a.m.er. Definitely never have been, never will be. What I do is I get up at 2:45 a.m. I'm joking. I'm not a finance tech bro. You know those people who go to sleep at like
I love their sleep.
They go to sleep at 1 and wake up at like 11 o'clock the previous day to start the next day's hustle and whatnot. No, not that. My writing regime used to be centered around panic, around this idea that I'm running out of time and I've got to get things done. But I've calmed down a lot more. Now I'm a little more deliberate about what I want to write and how I want to write it. I write at a desk, like I guess I write at a desk.
We don't take that for granted. Some people write standing up or on buses.
I write with my very eclectic collection of fountain pens. Blue ink, never black. Not never black, but blue ink is my favorite.
So you're a pen and page writer.
Yeah,
that's a rare thing.
Yeah, and I can tell when something is going to be good just how it feels on the pen. I have like many different fountain pens for different things. I have my non-fiction pens, I have my fiction pens, I have my poetry pens, which are terrible, which I never use, but I've got different pens for different things. I prefer to be in a room with wonderful books and music around, my dog sitting at my feet. Quiet space to write. So I guess I'm very fortunate in that I can do my craft in a place that is suited for me to do it. I know a lot of people are writing under very, very different circumstances. But I think the most important thing that we all have in common is you have to start and get to the end. So how you get through it, for me, is irrelevant. Just start and finish. Everything else is by the way. So I hope nobody reading this is like, oh, I must get 10 different fountain pens. No, you don't. One big pen will do. Pencil will also work. So just do the work.
It's good advice. So it's very sound advice. Have you ever thought of doing one of those master classes in creative writing?
Well, it depends how many finance bros are going to pivot and need one of these guys. But
could be the next revolution. You never know.
Maybe. I do enjoy workshops. I enjoy sharing practical knowledge about the craft of writing. I'm not theoretically blessed. I'm like, oh, this is that type of ism and that stems from that. I'm more like, well, this is how this character moves from A to B. And this is how you chop something from 1.5 words to 1.2.
Yeah.
And so those things are cool.
That's important.
Yeah. I enjoy the technical aspects of craft production. And the theoretical part is something that I've been trained to do from my university days. I understand it, but that's not necessarily what gets people focused on the page. Yes. So I enjoy workshops more than I enjoy the abstract nature of literature. No, not in terms of like sharing knowledge and whatnot. That's where you come in. I am not a literary critic. I'm more like a trade writer.
Everyone's a critic at the end of the day. It's just about where you voice your opinions. So we are celebrating sort of the 50th anniversary of Jonathan Ball Publishing. That's right?
Yes.
Just checking. 50th anniversary of Jonathan Ball Publishing. Where do you see, sort of the literary world heading from now? I mean, we find ourselves in a really interesting age. What do you see in terms of the future of writing?
More of the same.
More
of the same. This isn't the first time that we found ourselves in safe, interesting age. Everyone's been
always forecasting. Yeah.
What is the future of this and that? And the future seems to be more of the past. And I am very, very certain that after this global storm of malaise regarding certain technologies, it'll blow over, and then people will realize, oh, this is what lasts. And the reason why it lasts is I think people enjoy writing as opposed to telling something else to write for them. So I think it's more of the same Wamuwi. I think more people will become aggressively analog, which I am looking forward to, because the analog is what's built a community. It's where it comes from. So you can't do that if you remove the person out of the process. I mean, we can't have a festival of like computers talking to each other. Oh, what prompt did you use to generate this? No,
it would be a bit dull.
That'll be you can't have a festival of people who don't do the craft in an analog manner. And so I believe it's going to be more of the same.
Thank you. That's a lovely and inspiring note on which to kind of bring this to a close. I have one final question.
Yes, sir.
Who are you reading at the moment?
Oh, so it's gonna sound cheesy, but I'm rereading Tan Tong Yen, the Garden of Evening Mist.
Yes.
And the reason I'm doing this is because I read it so long ago when I was in undergrad. And I forgot the rhythm of your writing. And then again, it's weird that if you told me in undergrad 2007, you want to meet this guy, I'd be like, nah. And so now he's at the Franschhoek Literary Festival. And I'd forgotten the rhythm of that writing, how exquisitely beautiful writing actually can be. Right? And
that's definitely a book that deserves another moment.
And then it's also like, but this was done by a person. And it, harkening back to your question earlier, it's like the future is more of this creation of this beauty and rediscovering older writings as well, because you're like, yo, a person did this before this current era and whatnot. And so that's what I'm reading again, The Garden of Evening Mist. Also a kick-ass title. It sounds like
titles are out.
It sounds like a sword from like some anime thing. You know, when they pull out their sword, it's like, oh, this is the Garden of Evening. I mean,
it grabs you. It's got that Jet Li vibe to it. So tell us, where can we find your book? Where can we find you?
Every good bookstore, I hope, is available. Jonathan Ball has been very generous with getting me to the Franschhoek Literary Festival, which I'm thankful for the first time. I am running around, skedaddling everywhere at the festival. It's my first time here, so you'll see me hanging around. And where can they find me personally?
In the online.
In the onlines. Okay, so I have a website, RemyTheCool.com, where I publish my photography and my writings and other literary musings and whatnot. The grams are also active. And then the big project that I'm always working on is Doek Literary Magazine, DOEKLITMAG.com. And that is where we publish fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and visual art from Namibia, Africa, the African diaspora, and any other relevant tradition. And this year is a festival year, September 30th to October 03. See you in Vinton.
You heard it here first, folks. Rémy, thank you.
Thank you so
very
much.
Lovely to have a chat.
Thank you.